I'll be demonstrating how to fix a miscrossed cable, and I'll demonstrate for both a cable where the stitches are held to the front and also to the back. To work this little bit of magic, we need 2 cable needles, or you could use double points if you'd like, and you also need a crochet hook. So before we get started, let's take a look and see our mistake here. So in this first column, we have a 4-stitch cable, and the stitches lean to the left, so when they were placed on a cable needle, they were held to the front of the work. When you get to this 3rd cable, you can see that it leans to the right, and the mistake was that I accidentally held the stitches to the back. So we need to unravel this cable and then recross it. So what I like to do is actually just work across to the offending little cable. So I will get myself there. So here I am this is the 4-stitch cable. So I'm making sure that my stitches are all nice and safe here. I'm actually going to take these 4 stitches off of the needle. This is the scary part. And we're going to unravel them until they get to the point where they're crossed incorrectly. So to unravel that, you can use something like a double point, or I think even my little cable needle will help. And I'm going to unravel. So once one pops out, you see this long loop here. Pull out all the other stitches. Now this big loop is actually 1 row of knitting. So now I'm down to the next row. Again, I'm going to unravel those 4 stitches in the cable. I'm still not to the cross yet. So let's see if we can get another row out. Still, here's the cross, but this should be my cable row. So I'm going to pull that, start to unravel that. And now you can see the cables are released, those 4 stitches, and now I have the stitches uncrossed. So the first thing we want to do is rescue those live stitches. And so whatever size, how many stitches your cable is, whatever the directions say to divide, that's what we're going to do. This is a 4-stitch cable, so I would have 2 stitches held and knit 2, so I'm going to divide them in half. If you had a 6-stitch cable, you'd put 3 on each cable needle. So now the stitches are all rescued safely, but now I have to recross them. Now think about when you execute a cable, you slip 2 stitches to a cable needle, or however many you need, and you hold them either to the front or to the back. In this instance, we need to do it correctly and hold them to the front. So these are the stitches on the 2nd cable needle that get knit first. So we're going to work one at a time, and we are going to actually ladder up, it's like fixing a drop stitch, these 4 strands, working from bottom to top. Now we are going to work one at a time, so we would knit this one first. So what I'm going to do is take 1 stitch off this cable needle and put it on my crochet hook, and then I'll get the other one out of the way. Now you see these 4 strands, they're really, really long. We will use that up, but we're going to ladder up this stitch, or repair it, working it to the far right of these strands, because that's the order that we normally knit. Now before you start, we're going to make sure those 4 strands are in the correct order. And then starting at the bottom, I'm going to take my crochet hook and go under that bar or strand, pull it through. So there's 1 row, 2 rows, 3 rows, and 4 rows. Now when you pull those through, you can see, this is my working yarn, get that out of the way there. You can see that the stitches are a little wobbly. Well, are these working yarns here that will help even that tension out. Once you get it to look how you want it to look, take the stitch that you just laddered up, and we're going to place that on the right hand needle. And there's 1. So now we have to ladder up the 2nd stitch. That is, actually it's the 4th stitch of the group, but the 2nd stitch on that left side, that left cable needle. So we're going to do the same thing that we did before, making sure these 4 strands are, oh, my working yarn's in the way. Sorry about that, guys. Let me get that way out of the way here. I know my hand's in the way, sorry. Okay, well, let's try that. Much better. So we're gonna pull 1 through 1 bar, 2 bars, 3, and the last one, 4. That one came very nicely. Take that stitch, pop it on my right hand needle. So now that would be the first part of the cable, where you slip 2 onto a cable needle, hold them to the front, then knit the next 2. So those are those stitches. Now I'm going to knit the stitches off of my cable needle. And again, we're going to knit the right one, or ladder up the right one first. So place that rightmost stitch from the cable needle onto the crochet hook. And I keep trying to get my working yarn out of the way there. And we're going to ladder up this one again. So go under the bottom one and pull it through the stitch. Second, third, and wiggle around and find that 4th one. Take it off of the crochet hook, place it onto the right hand needle, and now I just have 1 left. Now you may see this looks like a lot of yarn there, but it does kind of get taken up. So we're going to put that onto the last stitch on the crochet hook and work my way up under the lowest strand. If you've never picked up stitches before, you may want to watch my fixing a drop stitch video to get a little more experience. And then I'm going to take that 4th stitch, put it on my needle. Now because I worked the stitch differently in a different order, you may want to, after you're done, kind of fiddle with the tension here, but I think that looks pretty good and it's corrected. Now I'm going to work my way to this cable. Actually, I put those all on the right hand needle, so now we've got to stick them back onto the left, and actually I'm just on a plain knit row. So I'm going to knit them, and that truly completes the repair work. All nice and done. And now let's work to the second cable that needs to be repaired, because it actually has its stitches should have been held to the back and they were held to the front. So you can see here, right leaning cable, right leaning cable. So those held stitches on the cable needle were held to the back. When I got to this one, it leans to the left. So unfortunately, they were held to the front. So we need to repair that. So let's work to the cable. This process is just the same that we did before. This time I'll learn to get my working yarn really out of the way. And now let's ravel down those rows of knitting to the cable. There's 1 row, 2, 3, and here's the cable row where it's miscrossed. So when I pull that out, that releases those stitches. So again, we'll put first 2 stitches on a cable needle, second 2 stitches on a cable needle. But here's where the difference is in trying to repair one where the cable needle needs to be held to the back. You actually need to go under these strands here. You probably don't even realize when you're working a cable that that's what happens. So I've got kind of a long cable needle, but I'll just work it underneath there, hold it to the back. Now I'm going to do the same thing, laddering up the stitches from the cable needle. So we're going to put the rightmost stitch onto the crochet hook, and we'll leave this other guy resting. Starting on the right hand side of these strands, I will ladder those up. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Put that rescued stitch, I'm just going to put it for now on my right hand needle. Go back to the remaining stitch here. put that on my crochet hook. Ladder that guy up. 1, 2, 3, 4. Place that stitch on my right hand needle. And now it's time for me to go to these stitches that were held in the back. So I now need to retrace my steps and drag that guy back up here where they were held in the back and bring it around to the front so that I can ladder up these stitches. So now with the cable needles back to the front, I'm going to put that first stitch on my crochet hook and making sure these strands are in the correct order. So you can see it. It'd almost be nice if you had an extra set of hands. But we'll go under the first, second, third, and fourth bar, all the way up to the top. Pop that on my right hand needle. I've got one stitch left to rescue on your crochet hook, and let's work that guy up those 4 stitches. Once that last stitch is up on there, so they've all been, you can see now my cable's corrected. I'll just return these stitches to the left hand needle, knit them, and my repair work will be complete. And you can come back and adjust your tension if necessary. But there you go. Happy knitting!